السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. بسم الله الحمد لله والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. اللهم انفعنا بما علمتنا وعلمنا ما ينفعنا وزدنا علما يا رب العالمين. So we were just continuing the chapter of Kitab Ar-Riqaq, in which Imam Bukhari is emphasizing on the cleanliness of the heart, purification of the heart, tazkiyah of the heart. And in this hadith, the Prophet ﷺ is emphasizing that do not become despondent, upset and sad if you do not get a position in this world. So an individual from the Ansar, he came to the Prophet of Allah ﷺ and he said that, why do you not use me for sadaqah and for stipulating the charity just the way you use such and such person? So the Prophet ﷺ, he gave an advice. He said that, indeed you will see innakum satulquna uthra, that you will see preferences in the world when it comes to positions. So after I pass away, the Prophet ﷺ is saying that you are going to see people being preferred for worldly reasons and worldly gains. So the Prophet ﷺ, he gave a short advice. He said, when this happens, فَاصْبِرْ حَتَّى تَلْقَوْنَ عَلَى حَوْضِ, that be patient until you meet me in front of the hawd, meaning on the day of judgment. So the Prophet ﷺ here, he's trying to emphasize that there's going to be a time where injustice is going to happen. In your workplaces, wherever it may be, when it comes to positions, you may be more credible for that position, you may have all the qualifications, you may have all the experience, but this is how the world's going to go. Allah has planned it this way, that people are going to be given positions who have less experience than you, who have less expertise than you, who have less intellect than you. And in this occasion, the Prophet ﷺ said, be patient. So the question comes that this is to do with position in the world. And when we look within hadith, actually the Prophet ﷺ in many ahadith, he discourages us going after positions. That he said, one of the worst things you can do is amara, be a leader. Why? Because there's just so much pressure. There's so much responsibility, and you look all around the world about rulers. How many rulers can we take, even since after the demise of the Prophet ﷺ, that ruled with equality, that ruled with justice, that ruled with fairness? But on the other hand, when you look, just take the example of Sayyidina Yusuf alayhi salam. We've mentioned this before, and it's a very good example. That when we look into the story of Sayyidina Yusuf alayhi salam, he did not discourage himself from taking the position of leadership as the Maliku Misr. When it came to, he went to the king and he took the position. He didn't reject it. Why? Because he had the knowledge and the expertise, and he knew that if he did not take it, then this whole society, that whole land of Egypt would become ruined. He understood the meaning of the dream. قال سبع سنين دأبا فما حصدتم فذروه في سنبله إلا قليلا مما تأكلون ثم يأتي من بعد ذلك سبع شداد, that there are going to be 7 years which are hardship. So he came up with the expertise that, okay, in these 7 years I'm going to take this position, and when the times are affluent, and when our crops are growing, and when we have wealth, then we're going to withhold it, so that when the 7 years of difficulty come, we're going to use that. So he had the expertise. If he did not go for that position, it would have led to fitna and corruption. So this is also the same for us, that if we know that we do not take a position and it will create more fitna and corruption and trouble, then it is mandatory upon you and on those occasions to take those positions. And the Prophet ﷺ, he says that we'll meet on the hawd. And just to end on this point, that the hawd, the Prophet ﷺ, when describing the hawd, the pond, He was sleeping one day. He was sleeping and he woke up from his sleep smiling. So the Sahaba, they asked him that, why are you smiling? So he said, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has just revealed the verses, Inna a'tainaka al-kawthar. Indeed, Allah has given you Kawthar. And they asked, what's Kawthar? He says, it's khayrun kathir. Its goodness is the nahr and the pond that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will give to the ummah, to the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, from which you and I, inshallah, we will be able to drink from. But, he said, when the Hawd comes and people come to drink, certain people, Allah will completely remove them from that. Why? Because they removed from the ways of the Prophet ﷺ. They changed his legislations and rulings. Allah protect us from that. That we want to drink from the hands of the Prophet ﷺ on the Day of Judgment, but Allah removes us from that. Allah protect us from this. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala make us from those individuals, those rulers, or those people of position who rule with justice, who rule with equality, who rule with understanding, who rule with the ways that the Prophet ﷺ ruled with, thought and hikmah, wisdom, empathy. And it's a very difficult thing to do. Leadership is a very difficult thing to do. But if we do it right, then inshallah we will be from among the Anbiya. They were the best of leaders. They didn't shy away from leadership. So we shouldn't as well, that if Allah, for some reason, He's bestowed us with rule and leadership, then we should do it with amana and with haqq, that we understand that Allah will question on this. But also Allah will reward us if we do this correctly and properly. Allah will reward us immensely for this. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give us the true understanding. Subhanallah wa bihamdih. Subhanakallah wa bihamdik. Nashhadu an la ilaha illa anta nastaghfiruka wa natubu ilayk. And